Okay, Dov. Thank you very much. Parshat Vayechi, as we finish the book of Breishit. And it begins. Chaya Rivka, take it for us in Hebrew, please. Chaya Rivka, take it for us in Hebrew, please.
I'm sorry, I didn't need the Chaya Rivka part. Vihi Yaakov be'eretz v'tzarim shava esara shana vehi imei. Yaakov sheni Chayav Sheva, I'm not a very good reader. Sheva Shanim V'yar Ba'im Ve'arba'im Uma'at Shana.
Beautiful.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Okay, don't be sorry. Beautiful.
I tried. But
you did beautifully.
Nice.
In English, please. Ilana, take it for us, please. Jacob lived, page 269, yeah?
Jacob lived in the land of Egypt 17 years, and the days of Jacob, the years of his life, were 147 years.
Beautiful. Okay? So Jacob lived in the land of Egypt, Shva Esrei Shana. 17 years, he lived 147, right? As he stood before Pharaoh, we discussed last week, he was 130 years old. He lived another 17 years in Egypt, and then he died. Okay? And we've mentioned before that there are two parshiot which have in them, in their title, the word life. Vayechi, the name of this week's parsha, Vayechi, and he lived. Right? And we also have, what's the other one that we had earlier? Chaye, not Chaye Rivka, but Chaye Sarah. Right? Which is the life of Sarah. And what happens in both of those parshiot right away? They die. Chaye Sarah, the life of Sarah, Vatamat Sarah. And Sarah died. Vayechi Yaakov, Vayikri Yisroel Lamut, the days, right, of his death were coming close. Why in the world would those parshiot which deal with immediate death be titled life?
Could it be because death and life are interlinked, and there's life after death?
Okay. There's life after death.
I missed that.
Why would the two parshiot, the two parshas, that the Torah portions that deal with immediate death, that, or I should say that immediately deal with death, right? So why do they have the word life in them, in their title?
Because they lived their life to the fullest.
Okay, they lived their life to the fullest. That's true, and we'll go into that in just a moment. Right? Actually, let's go into that now. They'll come back to what Cheryl had said. Vayechi Yaakov. Yaakov lived in the land of Egypt for 17 years. What was unique about his living now in Egypt for 17 years? What was unique about these 17 years?
Isn't that the 17 years that Joseph was away?
Okay. No, Joseph was away for 22 years.
He's reunited with everybody.
He's reunited with everybody. Everyone's getting along. Remember, with the apparent death of Yosef, so Yaakov could not be comforted. He said, I'm going to go down to the grave mourning Yosef. Now, why is that? Right? You know, a religious person, every person, but a religious person has a framework with which they can work with death. And it's not the end, and it's not eternal, and it's until we will be reunited. And this world is a temporary world. So the great patriarch, Jacob, Yaakov, couldn't get over that. Right? He said, I'm going to go down to the grave mourning Joseph. Right? Now, in the end, how many more years did he have? He had another 39 years, I think, if I'm making the... 39 years. From the time that Yosef, he was 63, 77, 91, 108. Good. What did I say? I said 30. I said 39 years.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. 108 to 147. He had another 39 years. He said, "I'm going to be mourning forever." Is that a way for a person to speak? At a funeral, we make the blessing, Baruch Dayan Ha'emet. We bless God, we accept His judgment. As painful as it is, we accept His judgment. So why was Yaakov saying, "I will never be comforted"?
Maybe because he never really knew whatever happened to him.
Okay, you're making a good point, right? A person, MIA, a person missing in action, AWOL, right? So then there is never that finality. People after 9/11, they even wanted, just a shred of DNA, just to have that sense of closure. Okay, we could say that. That certainly is a valid approach. Dov?
I would say that if he doesn't have everyone on board, his whole mission in life is failure.
Beautiful. Yaakov's mission in life was to establish his 12 sons would become the nation. Abraham had a Yitzchak, but also had a Yishmael. Yitzchak had a Yaakov, but also had an Esav. Yaakov had the 12 tribes. And if he didn't have these 12 tribes, it meant he had failed in his life mission. Actually, when he encountered Yosef in last week's Parsha, he said, Amuta hapa'am. Literally, right, now I can die.
Yeah.
Remember when the New York Rangers, ice hockey team, right, when they finally won the Stanley Cup after a drought. Stanley Cup is the championship in hockey. Of drought, I think more than 50 years. So on the front page of the New York Post, not necessarily the most elegant of newspapers, but there was an older woman saying, right, holding her Ranger jersey, saying, "Now I can die." Right, lahavdil. Right, so Yaakov says, "Amuta hapa'am." Simply, now I can die. Meaning, now I can die in peace. Now that I've seen your face and I see that you are righteous. Right? But Rashi brings the Chazal, the sages' teaching. Amuta hapa'am. Now I'm only going to die once. Meaning what? He thought that with his failed mission of not establishing 12 tribes, there's going to be 2 deaths. There's going to be the physical death that everyone encounters at the end of their life, and there's going to be a spiritual death. Because I failed in my mission and what I was sent to this world to do. So he says to Yosef, now that I see you, Amuta hapa'am. I'll die once.
The thing that, excuse me, Rabbi, the thing that bothers me, he was so close to God, and he knew that God runs the world and does things. And he promised him 12 tribes. It's as if God didn't keep his promise.
So there is a concept of Shema Yigrom Hachet. He was concerned that, yes, I was destined to do this, right? God never promised him 12 tribes. They had a prophecy of 12 tribes.
Prophecy, okay.
Right? But prophecies can go in different directions.
Okay.
Right? And there's a concept of maybe I wasn't worthy of it. I didn't step up the way I needed to step up. See, he thought that he had failed. Now he's reunited with Yosef, and Yosef is righteous, and all the children, and they're all getting along. So now, Vayechi Yaakov, now he is fully alive. And it goes a step further. Yes, Linda.
I'm thinking too that maybe he considered himself to blame to a certain extent.
Yeah.
He sent Yosef down there all by himself.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he didn't come back, so.
Yeah. Yeah. He certainly could see where he was remiss. Right? Knowing the brothers had this animosity towards Yosef. Sending him by himself down there, yes. Right? He could certainly, right? And great people don't point the finger at others and say, you did this, but they look at themselves and say and see, what did I do wrong? What could I have done better? Right? And try to have a takeaway. And even the greatest people, right? Famously, the Gemara Brachas tells us a story. I think it's of Yochanan ben Zakkai. On his deathbed, he was crying. And his student said to him, you know, the Ner Tamid, you, the eternal, the light of Israel, why are you crying? And he said, there are two paths in front of me upon my death. I don't know upon which path they're going to lead me. Right? What do you mean? He was a great tzaddik, a great sage of Israel. But everyone holds themselves up to the highest of standards and doesn't know. Now, coming back to what Cheryl had said, though, Vayechi Yaakov, look at the first word. Vayechi, and he lived. The numerical value of Vayechi, the gematria, right? Every letter has its numerical value. Vav is 6, Yud is 10, Chet is 8, Yud is 10. So 2 tens is 20, 8, 28, plus 6, 34. Vayechi Yaakov lived. How long did he live? 34. 34 years. Why 34 years? Because he had 17 years with Yosef until he was sold. And then 22 years later, he had 17 years with Yosef when he was reunited until his own passing. See, he was alive. He was vibrant for these 34 years. And as Cheryl said before when I asked, why do the Parshiot that deal with an immediate death, why are they titled with life? Because we don't view life through the prism of just physical. Death is referred to as Gesher HaChayim. Gesher HaChayim means the bridge of life, connecting one phase of life to another. I was learning with a group last night, we're doing Mesilat Yesharim. And he has a paragraph here, which is just so powerful. Mesilat Yesharim, the path of the just, is one of the classic, probably the most well-known classic work of Rav Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, known as the Ramchal. The Ramchal lived in Tzfat in the, I believe, the early 1700s. Died at the very early age, in his early 30s. But what he produced, the works that he produced on a Kabbalistic level, on a Jewish Musar Hashkafa level, Klalo Shel Davar, he writes at the end of his towards the end of his first chapter. Ha'adam lo nivra b'avor matzvav olam hazeh. Mankind was not created for their station, their position in this world, ela b'avor matzvav olam haba, but rather because of their position, their station in the world to come. Ela shematzvav olam hazeh, but what one does in this world, one's station, position in this world, hu emtsa'i, that is the means towards an end. Lamatzavo ba'olam haba, for a person's state in the world to come, shuhu hatachliti, that is the purpose, that is the end. So this world is a temporary place until we move on to our eternity. And that's why he says you have so many different teachings of the sages that all in the same vein. This world is like the corridor. Prepare yourself in the corridor before you enter the palace. or whoever works on Shabbat, on Erev Shabbat, whoever prepares an Erev Shabbat will eat on Shabbat. Meaning, the lesson of Shabbos is a weekly lesson that we need to keep experiencing every week. What is that lesson? Prepare, 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 stop. It's now Shabbos. Whatever you've prepared, you can have. Whatever you haven't prepared, you can no longer prepare. Right? I remember when I used to proctor tests back when I was teaching in high school. Put your pencils down. That's it. Put your pencils down. Right? Put your pencils down. Right? Whatever you filled in, you filled in. Whatever you haven't, you can't anymore. That's the lesson of Shabbos. Prepare, prepare, prepare. Siren, time, that's it. Right? Stop. And that's what life is. So when you view life in such a way, it gives one a completely different perspective on everything. Right? If this is what it's all about, then why isn't this going well? And why do we have tragedies? Right? Premature, tragic deaths, right? We eat ourselves up. But when we understand Vayechi Yaakov, we understand Chaye Sarah, we understand what the Ramchal is teaching us. That this is a temporary stop along the way towards our eternity. So then we understand. There's a period of time that each individual needs to spend, and we hope for it, and we take care of ourselves. We eat well, we don't drink soda. Right? Right? We exercise, we take care of ourselves as best as we can, and we try to stay healthy, get your flu shots, right? We do all these things, but because we want more time to accomplish, right? No one feels, I'm good, I'm ready. God, here's my resume, here are my credentials, here's what I accomplished. All good. No, mission accomplished is not the sign we hang behind ourselves, right? Right? So we try, we want life, but we also have that recognition. Now, it's very interesting. We have a teaching by Yaakov Avinu that Yaakov Avinu lo mate. Yaakov Avinu did not die. Now, clearly, Yaakov Avinu died, right? And the Torah tells us about the death of Yaakov Avinu. Right? He gives blessings, right, to Menashe and Ephraim. He gives blessings to his other children. And then Yaakov Avinu died. Right? It says, Vayigva Vaye'esaf. It doesn't say that he died. Vayigva literally means like he expired, probably how they translate it. He expired and was gathered to his people. But he doesn't say that he died. Right? So what do we mean he didn't die? Certainly he died. He died. So we want to say, well, he didn't eternally die. But neither did Avraham. Neither did Yitzchak.
Only the body.
Right? Only the body. So what is unique about Yaakov, about Jacob, that we say Yaakov Avinu lo mate? That Yaakov Avinu didn't die. So it's very interesting. We've said throughout Maaseh Avot Siman Lebanim. The events of the patriarchs, the matriarchs, that is the sign for the children. meaning that it's almost like a zip file. It's the blueprint of all that we will go through. That's what the Avot go through. So Yaakov Avinu, if we're looking at the map, the sojourn of the nation of Israel, the children of Israel, Yaakov Avinu is the very last. Yaakov is the last of the Avot, and the end of his life will be the very end of our sojourn.
What is that? So, what is that?
Our trek, our destiny, our travel, right? So we've been through a lot, right? And we have in the middle, we had Yitzchak, Isaac's life, and we had the whole seemingly unimportant episode of the digging of the wells. And Ramban there showed us that no, that's a reference to the different temples that were built during those time periods. And we have Abraham, and we have Yaakov, Jacob. Early on in his life, lots of difficulties. Lots and lots of difficulties. Right? Remember he went through, right, problems with Esav and the blessings, and Esav then wanting to kill him and running to the house of Lavan and being tricked by Lavan and working for 7 years to marry Rachel and not being given Rachel but given Leah. 7 days later he's given Rachel, but he needs to work another 7 years, 14 years altogether, and then 6 years working for his wages, and then Lavan trying to dupe him 100 times over and over and over, and then finally leaving and battling with the angel, with the man that he encountered, the angel that he encountered, and then meeting up with Esav, right? And then after all that, he thought, now I'll get to settle down.
Good luck.
Vayechi, Bikesh Yaakov Leishe B'Shalva. Now, let me relax. It's been a long, hard, crazy trip it's been. Right now, let me relax. And then what happens? Yosef. Right? All the problems with Yosef. Then, right? And that's Klal Yisroel. Right? During the time was called of Ikvita de Mishicha. During the time, literally the heel. Right? Working our way down the body, we get to the lowest part towards the very end. We get to the period of time, the epic, the period of time leading up to Mashiach, and it's crazy. And it's been crazy. It's been crazy. Right? With Holocaust and all the wars in Israel. It's been crazy. That's Yaakov, right? You know, you think perhaps, no one knows these things, but you would think, you know, after the Holocaust, we thought we'd sit b'shalva, right? After that, we had the state of Israel. Finally now, we have our own place. The reason why we've been so persecuted, we've always been the outsiders, right? And what do all the signs say? Jews, go back to Palestine. Jews, go back to Palestine. And we thought after the Holocaust, okay, that's it. We're in Palestine, right? We could just be like everyone else. We could lay sheif b'shalva. We could sit quietly, tranquilly, right? Kafatz alav rag so shel Yosef. Then what happens? All the problems with Yosef. And our settling in Israel has been miraculous, has been a gift, has been incredible, but it hasn't been b'shalva. Right? It has not been a very peaceful, tranquil existence. Now, what do the signs say? Jews, get out of Palestine. Right? Now that's what they're telling us. You know, if we move to Mars, the Palestinians would tell us that there was an ancient Palestinian civilization there on Mars, and therefore we are usurpers and we are colonizers and we are occupiers. Yeah, right. So we wanted to sit b'shalva, right? But Israel is anything but, right? It's miraculous, it's beautiful, it's enchanting. But it's not peaceful, right? I heard someone say that Israel is the only place where sound travels faster than light. Now, we know the speed of light is much faster than the speed of sound. Israel is the only place where sound travels faster than light. Right? How's that? The guy behind you beeps before the light even turns green. Right? It's not shalva, right? It's not such a peaceful place. And that was Yaakov. Yaakov wanted to sit b'shalva. But then what happened afterwards? Vayechi Yaakov. These last 17 years of his life, he was alive. Fully alive. He was now leishev b'shalva. He was now sitting peacefully. What does that correspond to? In the nation of Israel and our trek through history, Messianic times. Zman Mashiach. That corresponds to the Zman Mashiach, the time of the Messiah. And what does Mashiach then lead to? Mashiach is an earthly transitional time. What does that then lead to? Yom Shekulo Shabbat. The day that is all Sabbath. The day that is all spiritual, all uplifted. And that's the second half of Yaakov's physical death, but Yaakov Avinu lo met. Yaakov Avinu never died. More than Avraham and Yitzchak and the Imahot, the matriarchs. Why? Because that Yaakov represents on our Masa Avad Simen Lebanim, on our continuum of history, of what they endured, aligned with that which we endure. So Yaakov Avinu is the one who specifically is, the last 17 years of his life is Zman Mashiach, and then it's elevated further to the Yom Shekulo Shabbos, the day that's all Shabbos.
It's when you mention that each week we prepare for Shabbos. Is the preparation for Shabbos also a preparation for the eternal life we're going to have?
Well, what I was saying is this system that we go through, this process of prepare, stop, right? That is the reminder of what life is. Okay. Life is a time to prepare, stop, right? But we say that Shabbos is meant to be me'ein olam haba, right? Me'ein olam haba means a taste of olam haba. Actually, we say that it is 1/60th of the world to come. Now, whenever we say 1/60th, that's a very, very interesting concept, right? 1/60th applies itself to the laws of kosher, right? If a little bit of milk spilled into your chicken soup, can you eat your chicken soup or not?
How much milk?
How much milk, right? If you've got 60 or more than 60 to 1, if you have 60 to 1, right, then you can eat the chicken soup. Why? Because that is where it crosses over that you can no longer taste it. 59.9999, no, you still taste it. 60, right? So 1/60th is that transition point. You might be able to taste it. You might not be able to taste it. Right? So we say Shabbos is, when we say something is 1/60th of Olam Haba, we say X is 1/60th of something else, that means if a person tries, it's right there on the verge, right? You can sense it, or you cannot sense it. When it comes to Shabbos, it could be the most incredible day of the week. It can be so liberating as we turn down all of our electrical leashes and all of this stuff that just busies us and complicates us and drags us down, we can just put it all aside and enter into a different realm. Or it could be hell. For some people, I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't do this, I can't do that. Right? It's right there. Right? But Shabbos is meant to be a time where we cast off. Right? The 6 days, all your work is done. Right? Te'aseh melacha, not tasa, te'aseh melacha. The Pasuk says, your work is done. In your mind, it's all finished. And now let me enjoy. Let me enjoy my Creator. Let me enjoy my family. Let me enjoy my friends. Let me enjoy my community. Let me connect. So that's how Shabbos is meant to be. Now, Yaakov gathers together. Let's try to do a couple more points here. Let's look at page 274. All right, chapter 49. Vayikra Yaakov el banav. Linda, want to take it for us in Hebrew, Linda?
No.
Rather not? Any Hebrew volunteers? Cheryl, take it away. Vayikra.
Vayikra Yaakov el banav ve'omar
Hey asfu.
Va'agida lachem et asher yakra et chem ba'acharit chayamim.
Good. One more. Hikavtzu.
Hikavtzu yashma'u banei Yaakov Vashim El Yisroel Avichem.
Beautiful. Linda in English.
What line?
49:1.
Okay. Then Jacob called for sons and said, assemble yourselves, and I will tell you what will befall you in the end of days. Gather yourselves and listen, O sons of Jacob, and listen to your father.
Okay, so what's a little bit strange about this? Assemble yourselves, and I will tell you what will befall you in the end of days. Gather yourselves and listen. Sounds a little bit redundant. Right? O sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel your father. So Rashi brings, teaching from the sages, that they were troubled by what was he gathering them to do. So he said, gather, I'll tell you what will happen at the end of days. Wow. That sounds really exciting. I'd love to hear that. Right? And the Gemara says, Bikesh Yaakov legalot et haketz. He wanted to reveal to them literally the end of days. This is what Yaakov is. We just mentioned Yaakov is aligned with the end of days. So he wants to now tell the children who will have to live out all of this map, all of this blueprint of the patriarchs. Let me tell you when it will be, how it will be. And the Shekhinah left him. The divine presence left him. He was unable to do that. So now what did he say? Hikavtzu. Gather together and listen, children of Jacob. Listen to Israel, your father. And then he goes ahead and starts to give them brachot. He gives the blessings to each of his children right prior to his death. So we're not meant to know the exact time of the geula, of the redemption. But what he is letting us know is, again, the redundancy was, hey asvu, assemble yourselves. He kavtzu, gather, like kibbutz, right? Like a kibbutz is a communal living, right? It needs to get everyone's gathered in. What is he letting us know? If you want to get to the Geula, if you want to get to that ultimate redemption, then what do you need to do? You need to gather together. You need to be unified. You need to be one group. Right? In our Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur davening, right, we say, V'yasu kulam aguda achat. Let us all become one group. And right, this is Yaakov's almost final message. And let's look at Moshe's final message in the last Parsha of the Torah, page 1112. Right, that's Zot HaBracha, chapter Lamed Gimel 33, verse 5, Pasuk Hey. There, the very bottom line in page 1112. Vayechi vishurun melech. Vayechi, and he will be, God will be, over Yeshurun, over Israel. He will be the melech, the king. Right? On verse 5 there on page 1113 in English, 1112 in Hebrew. Right? When will God be the king over Israel? Now, a king is not a ruler. A ruler, a moshel, imposes his will. A king is one that is willingly, lovingly, reverently accepted by all. When will God be the king over Israel? Behit asef, Rashi, Am, when we gather together, with the gathering of the numbers or the leaders of the nation, Yachad, page 1115 in English, Yachad Shivtei Yisroel. Together, the tribes of Israel. And then, what does Moshe begin to do? Bless the children of Israel. What does Moshe speak about immediately prior to the blessings of Israel? The unity of the tribes of Israel. What does Yaakov, back on page 274 where we were, what does Yaakov speak about immediately before the blessing of Israel, when he wanted to speak about the redemption but he couldn't? But what did he give us? The keys, the means to bring about that redemption. Hey asvu, he kabtsu, gather together, right? Gather, assemble, right? Unify. And that is how the Geula comes. Now what's fascinating is each of these tribes were very, very different. And each one had different missions to do. Unity does not mean conformity. Unity does not mean that we are all the same. When we try to make, when mankind has tried to make those great social experiments, trying to make everyone the same, led to incredible catastrophe. Right? 70 years after workers of the world, we apologize. Right? That was a big banner on May Day after the fall of the Soviet Union. Right? Those attempts to make everyone the same led to incredible destruction. See, each tribe has its role, has its mission. On 278, Zevulun, verse 13, Zevulun l'chof yamim yishkon, you'll settle by the seashores. Hu l'chof aniyot v'yakatal Sidon, he should be by the ship's harbor. His last border will reach Sidon. Yisachar, chamor garam orveitz bein hamishpatayim v'yar menucha kitov v'daras kineima v'yechmel lisbol v'hilamas oved. right? He shouldered his burden to carry the heavy load of what? Of Torah study, of Torah scholarship. And we speak about the partnership of Yisachar and Zvulun. Zvulun were the businessmen, they were the merchants. They would support Yisachar, who were the scholars. And who's mentioned first? Zvulun is mentioned first. Everyone has their role. Everyone has who they are, has what they're good at, and we all work together respectfully. That is the unity that was spoken about over here. And then how does it end off? When the brachos end off? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful verse, page 282, Pasuk Chaf 28. Chol eila shivtei Yisroel, all Chol eila shivtei Yisroel shnei masar, v'zot asher tivi lem avim v'yivarech otam ish asher kibirchato berach otam. Linda Shoham, take 28 for us in English on page 283.
All these are tribes of Israel, 12, and this is what their father spoke to them, and he blessed them. He blessed each according to his appropriate blessing.
What does that mean? Ish kibirchato berach otam. He blessed each according to his appropriate blessing. What does it mean? What does it mean to bless according to their appropriate blessing?
Their inner meanings.
Good.
He didn't give a blanket blessing for everybody. Each one is an individual that has the strengths that would unite everybody else and help everybody else.
It's not, the proverbial trying to fit the square peg into the round hole. Everyone has their bracha. What does the word bracha actually mean? Don't say bless. What does the word bracha actually mean? It means to increase. So a bracha means to take what you have, who you are, what you are, the potential, your abilities, your kochot, your strengths, and increase and build on that. And that's how, when everyone is doing when everyone is being who they are and doing what they do best, and we respect one another, that is the unity. I heard in the name, a beautiful teaching in the name of Rabbi Yaakov Weinberg, my Rosh Hashiva, Zichron Levracha, from Ner Yisroel. And Purim is the holiday of unity, right? All the things we do, we send gifts to build this unity. We give matanot levyonim. We give money to the poor to build this unity. We have a big seuda, a big meal to build the unity. Why is it that on this holiday of unity, of all holidays, the holiday of unity, well, the Jews in Shushan celebrate the 15th, as do the Jews in Jerusalem and the Jews in Tiberia. But the Jews outside of those areas, they celebrate the 14th. How could it be that on the holiday of unity, we have different days of celebration? There's Purim, regular Purim, there's Shushan Purim, right?
We can be unified even though we're different.
Good. That's the idea. Unity does not mean everyone having to do the same thing. Unity is everyone eagerly, lovingly stepping up and performing that which they need to do. And you're doing yours on the 15th, and that's the day for you? Wonderful. And I'm doing mine on the 14th, and that's the day for me? Wonderful. That is, in fact, what true unity is meant to be. Chai Rivka.
Last night in the class I took in Mutavad, we learned that when the Israelites stood in the desert in certain positions, each position was what you were saying.
Right, the digalim.
They say that one stood next to another because they could support each other. And that one could support the next one, could support the next one. And so it was as if the whole was much stronger than the parts. And that's really what unity is. the whole is stronger than the part.
Beautiful, beautiful. And that's why there's a medrash that the angels were jealous of the flags. Right, the flags that each of the tribes and each of the digalim and each of the groups had, right? Or the angels were jealous of the flags, right? Now we've been to Simchas Torah. Lots of kids have very nice flags. Anybody get jealous of the flags that the kids have? No, right? The idea of the flags that aroused the jealousy even of the angels was that each one was different, but it formed what we say a tapestry.
Right.
You know, it's like an orchestra, right? Everyone's playing a different instrument, and they're playing different things.
Yeah.
But it's only everyone playing differently and different notes and different harmonies that brings it into this incredible beauty, harmony, or crescendo of this of an orchestra. Let's just go to the very last part, as the Parsha and the book of Breishit sadly comes to an end. Now, the book, that's on page 288, 289. Now, the book of Breishit was the book of creation and the founding of the nation. So it's the book of the physical creation and the moral creation and laying down